Have you ever wondered where everything came from? Where did the big, wide sky get its blue? Where did the wiggly worms come from? Where did the giant, stompy elephants come from? It's the best story ever. A true story about the very beginning of everything. It's a story about how God, with just his words, made our whole wonderful world. It started with nothing. No trees, no puppies, no sunshine, not even a whisper. It was all dark and empty and quiet. But God had a beautiful, brilliant, wonderful plan. He was going to fill up all the emptiness with amazing things. He was getting ready to make his masterpiece. Are you ready to hear the story? Snuggle in close and let's imagine together. Let's pretend we are right there, watching it all happen. It's like a front row seat to the most spectacular show in the universe. God is the storyteller. God is the artist. God is the builder he is about to start. On the very first day, the world was like a blank, dark canvas. God looked at all the darkness and said, with a voice that was both powerful and kind, "Let there be light." And just like that, poof, light exploded everywhere. It wasn't the sun yet, just pure, beautiful, glowing light. It chased all the shadows away and filled every corner with brightness. God saw the light, and he smiled. "This is good," he said. He separated the light from the darkness, calling the light day and the darkness night. And that was the end of the very first day, the first ever morning and the first ever evening. On the second day, there was water everywhere. A great big wobbly ocean covered everything. So God spoke again. "Let's make some space," he said. He stretched out a great big space right in the middle of the water. He pushed some of the water up and kept some of the water down. He called the big, beautiful space in between sky. It was a giant, wonderful dome, ready for clouds to float in and birds to fly through later on. God looked at his new sky and said, "This is very good too." Isn't it amazing what God can do with just his words? On the third day, God looked at all the water covering everything and said, "Let's gather the water together and let dry ground appear." And swoosh, the water rushed into big pools we now call oceans. Sea's wonderful land poked up. God called the land Earth. But the earth looked a little plain. So God said, "Let the land sprout with wonderful things." Suddenly, green grass carpeted the ground like a soft blanket. Tiny seeds sprouted into colorful flowers of every shape and size. Great big trees grew tall, reaching for the sky branches full of yummy fruit. The world was suddenly full of life and color. He smiled, his biggest smile yet. Imagine the wonderful smells of the very first flowers and the sweet taste of the very first apple. God made tiny seeds that held the secret of a giant tree inside. He made plants to be beautiful, to give food, and to make the world a lovely place to be. On the fifth day, God looked at the big, beautiful oceans and the wide open sky. They were lovely, but quiet and still. So, God said, "Let's fill them with life. Let the waters teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth." Suddenly, the water was not still anymore. Splashing, swishing, bubbling with life. Giant whales glided through the deep. Tiny rainbow fish darted everywhere. Wiggly octopuses, snappy crabs, graceful sea turtles. A busy, bustling underwater city, and the sky no longer empty. A great flutter birds of every kind took flight. Majestic eagles soaring high, tiny hummingbirds blurring, cheerful bluebirds, proud red cardinals, silly, honking geese. A noisy, beautiful symphony of life. Be fruitful and fill the seas. Let the birds increase on the earth. On the morning of the sixth day, God looked at his beautiful green land. It was full of plants and trees, so God said, "Let the land produce living creatures. Big, stompy elephants with long trunks. Fluffy-maned lions that could roar a mighty roar. Slithery snakes, hopping kangaroos, fuzzy little bunnies, slow-moving tortoises, tall giraffes that could munch on the highest leaves, creepy crawlies, cuddly bears. Every kind of animal began to walk, crawl, and leap across the land. Then God saved his most special creation for last. He said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness." He scooped up some dust from the ground, formed it carefully, and breathed his own breath into the very first man, Adam. And then he made the first woman, Eve, to be a friend and a helper for Adam. They weren't like the animals. They were like God. God gave them a very important job. to take care of his beautiful new world. And he didn't just say, "This is good." He said, "This is very, very good." He rested. He made the seventh day a holy day, a special day for resting and remembering all the wonderful things he had done. And you know what? You are part of that wonderful story. God made you, and he thinks you are very, very good. You are his special creation, made to love him and take care of his beautiful world. Just look around you today and see if you can spot a piece of God's amazing creation. He had turned the great big nothing into a wonderful, spectacular everything. The whole world was a gift, a masterpiece made by the great artist. And what did God do on the seventh day? He wasn't tired, but he stopped his work of creating to enjoy it all. He looked at his perfect world and smiled. He made the seventh day a holy day, a special day for resting and remembering all the wonderful things he had done. You are part of that wonderful story. You are his special creation, made to love him and take care of his beautiful world. Just look around you today and see if you can spot a piece of God's amazing creation. The world was a gift, a masterpiece made by the great artist. Thanks for listening. Good night, and remember, you are loved.